So Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake just released on PlayStation 5, Nintendo Switch, and I believe also on the Xbox Series and PC. I've never played the original game, but I really like the look of this remake. It's got that really nice Octopath Traveler style of graphics. I really like how they're remaking a lot of these old games with this kind of 3D environment, but with like 2D kind of characters and sort of pixelated textures. It's really nice. So I'm just quickly taking a look at some of the reviews for the game, and so far on Metacritic it has a score of 85 with 32 positive reviews and 2 mixed, and there's 0 negative, so it seems like it's a pretty damn good game, pretty good remake. So I'm just going to have a quick look down the list and see what some of the summaries have to say here. So it says here, Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake is probably one of the best remakes I've ever played. Doubly so, as it nails what made the original game so special. While some have had issues with how Japanese role-playing games work, the wizardry lineage is also hard to ignore, so those criticisms are clearly mute and quite ignorant by this point. In any case, if you have never played a Dragon Quest game, then this is the one to start with. So that was a 10 out of 10 review there. Let me have another look at another 10 out of 10 review here. So yeah, so it says the remake is captivating JRPG with a rich story, stunning world, and challenging gameplay, enhanced by welcome quality of life upgrades. Whether you're a fan or newcomer, it's a must play. And with Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D on the way, the trilogy is shaping up to be unmissable. So that's right, that they also planned to remake the first 2 games as well, which I think is pretty smart. I hope that they do this for the Final Fantasy games. I know they put out the Pixel remasters, but I would love to see this kind of art style for like the first 6 games. I think it would look really good, even if they just did it for like maybe like the 4th game and the 6th game. I think it would be excellent to look at. So that was another 10 out of 10 review. This is a 9.5. So it says the remake has set a new standard with how remakes of old RPGs are done. The release improves and tweaks elements of gameplay while maintaining the core structure that made the original release great. Add in a creative visual compromise between old and new school with a gorgeous soundtrack underneath, and you have yourself one of the better remakes in 2024. Well, we're talking about remakes. The Silent Hill 2 remake, now that was a masterpiece. So if they're saying this is one of the best remakes of the year, and Silent Hill 2 was already pretty phenomenal, this game must be pretty good as well. So here's another 9 out of 10 review. So it says Square Enix brings back a cornerstone from the JRPG golden era through a remake that does exactly what it needed to do: adapt both its visual style and gameplay to current standards. The remake thus becomes a living legacy to the cultural heritage of the original entry. I don't really know too much about the original 3 games, other than the 3rd game is meant to be the best in the trilogy, and it's also a favourite for a lot of people. I'm sure they say like Dragon Quest 3, Dragon Quest 5, I believe, and Dragon Quest 8, along with 11. I think they're like the very best that you can play. But as a newcomer, I'm looking at these reviews, and it's sort of confirming everything that I already suspected. So the graphics look excellent, the quality of life improvements really make a big difference. The soundtrack, I already know Dragon Quest soundtracks, they're already phenomenal, really fun kind of games to play. They have some dark themes, but it's kind of like padded around like a kind of nicer kind of cheerful kind of world. So we've got an RPG review, so let's look at a site that's dedicated to RPGs. So they gave it a 9. They said, when I finally beat the super boss, when I finally finished doing everything I wanted to do in Dragon Quest 3, I hesitated to turn it off. I walked around, I grinded, I tried to picture my grandparents playing through it, tried to replicate how they'd play it. I couldn't, of course, they are gone. Okay, this is a pretty depressing review, but he goes on to say, but what a treasure it is to remember them with this lovingly crafted, faithful and pure remake of a game and a series we treasure so much. Square Enix got it right, and I'm excited for the families who get to share this experience for the first time. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this game. Like I said, this whole HD 2D kind of aesthetic, I think, is it just fits these games really well, you know, because we always think about remaking these games, and you know, you could maybe hand draw the graphics, or you could do like a complete kind of 3D remake, and you know, that's kind of like what remakes are these days. It's usually just a big 3D remake. But this whole HD 2D art style, it's really taken over, and I really hope that they do remake a lot of games in this style. You know, not everything has to be in 3D, I don't think. I think it's perfectly okay to have some with this art style. I'm going to take a quick look at the two mixed reviews, because I think the positive reviews are pretty much all saying the same thing, you know. So here's the first of the two mixed reviews. So this is a 7 out of 10. So it says, this remake remains very old-fashioned. It's at times uncompromising, and it's missing some modern quality of life features. For existing fans of the JRPG classic and those who aren't afraid of a challenge, however, the Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake will no doubt prove to be captivating. So it seems like some people think the quality of life improvements are good, some think maybe it's not enough, but I don't know. I think, you know what you're getting into with this kind of game. It's a JRPG game. It is coming off of like an old school kind of vibe, so unless you radically change it, it's not going to be massively different. And the last mixed review has a 6.5. It says, graphically polished and therefore visually attractive gem for genre and series fans. However, a lack of depth in the story and characters quickly leads to monotony. That's probably one of the things I'm worried about, because normally in these older games, like, I can only really speak for Final Fantasy, you know, if you play Final Fantasy 1 or Final Fantasy 3, the stories are very basic, you know, they don't really try to do much, you know, they just focus on the gameplay and the world. The stories aren't really the main selling point. You know, it wasn't until Final Fantasy 4 that the story and the characters really picked up, and you know, it's a big noticeable difference. So, you know, if I'm thinking about Dragon Quest 1, 2 and 3, you know, I'm not really expecting the story to be, you know, on the same level as like Final Fantasy 7, you know. I know there's a lot of games around that time that probably had a good story, but I think like this game was originally on the NES, and then it got a remake on the SNES. So, you know, NES games, I really don't know too many NES games that had like a really deep story, you know, because back then technology was more limited. So, you know, there was only so many ways you could tell a story, you know, probably through like lore and, you know, talking to other people. Not so much like big bombastic cutscenes and, you know, really riveting storylines. So that's the only worry I've got, is maybe the story, but you know, I think I'll still enjoy it. I think it looks fantastic. The reviews, thankfully, are justifying it. So I'll definitely look to pick this up, and also the remakes for the first two games as well. I think it'll be a really great collection, especially if they bundle all three together once all three are released. I think that would be a fantastic package. And hopefully, like I said, hopefully they do this with the Final Fantasy games 1 to 6. I think they could really benefit from this kind of remake. You know, hopefully this sells well, so they can sort of see like, okay, we don't need to make a 3D remake, we can make HD 2D remakes, and they're still going to be received well and sell well. So hopefully we see that again for Final Fantasy and maybe some other games from back in those pixelated kind of eras. So that's everything for today's video. I'm really excited about these reviews. They're looking pretty good. Let me know in the comments if you guys are thinking about picking up Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.